The 10 most feared pirates of all times. So, who were the 10 most feared pirates to sail the 7 seas? Well, we are about to teach you what today's culture has turned into these romanticized scoundrels and lower-than-life animals they were. Sorry to disappoint many of you that were culled by the charismatic lifestyle we see on the big screen and let you see what these pirates were really like. They were shunned by society not just because they were criminals and killers, but because what they did was more terroristic like today. William Captain Kidd. So, let us begin our voyage and start with the most well-known pirate of his day, Captain Kidd. Most people don't know this, but he was a leading citizen, married to a lady of society and living in New York City. He had a lot of involvement in the building of Trinity Church. He was originally commissioned to rid the seas of pirates. How ironic is that? He only began his career as a privateer because his crew voted him as captain of the ship. Although his piracy itself was questionable and may have been sensationalized by his crew and others, his true downfall was attacking an East Indian Company vessel. When he found out that he was being hunted for this crime, he buried some of his treasure on Gardiner's Island, near the east end of Long Island. Edward Teach, Blackbeard. Not known as the most successful of pirates, Blackbeard was one of the most feared for sure. He grew his criminal ventures of 4 main ships and a pirate army of over 300 villains, early on. His ships were so powerful, they fought and defeated the famous warship, the HMS Scarborough, in a sea battle. He was well known for being a two-fisted swordsman, wearing several knives and guns when going into battle. He was ruthless as his whole crew was, killing all of what he considered his enemies, those he was Bartholomew Roberts, Black Bart. Roberts' crew thought the world of him. He was originally an officer on a British merchant ship, and they were captured by the pirate, Howell Davis. Befriending many of the crew, he was basically forced into piracy in order to live, making them form a mutiny. His excellent navigational skills, bravado and charisma, was the lure for him. Henry Every, Long Ben. This pirate, like many greedy criminals, began their heinous ways as a British Royal Navy sailor and served them all with honor. He joined a venture known as the Spanish Expedition Shipping in 1693, to only become a pirate captain, through forming a mutiny and taking command of the ship. He was not only successful but known as a pirate all should fear. Sir Henry Morgan. Captain Morgan was another, most feared pirate, and he terrorized Spain's Caribbean colonies, raping and pillaging what he and his violent men were capable of. He originally was sanctioned by England, but his greed eventually allowed him to become the head of the Jamaican fleet, and he successfully undermined all Spanish rule. Historical records show he pillaged over 400 ships during his time, but his greatest achievement was the Sir Francis Drake. Sanctioned by Queen Elizabeth I, Captain Drake fought and won battles against the Spanish many times. Spain and England were at war with each other, and Drake was well known for plundering Spanish cities off the coast of Florida. Drake also sailed and claimed new land on the west coast of North America, thereby becoming the first Englishman to circumnavigate the globe. He even rescued colonists. Chung Po Sai. Chinese pirates are not well known in most history books, but this one was the most successful of them all, including the English. Chung Po Sai was a fisherman's son, and he had a strange beginning to his life. He was captured by a pirate and his wife, and later, was adopted by them and become a pirate himself. When he was at the top of his game, he commanded several hundred ships and over 50,000 treacherous and heartless men. They terrorized the coastline of Guangdong Province. Francois L'Olonnais. L'Olonnais began life as a very poor person, working as an indentured servant to a plantation owner in America. He eventually turned to piracy and was known as a Frenchman with a viciousness like no other, torturing and killing anyone who got in his way. He did learn fast and became one of the best land attack pirates of all time, also capturing many ships at the same time, something most didn't excel at. One of his most successful plunders was the town of Maracaibo, Venezuela, where they ravaged and stole their way into infamy, gaining over 200,000 Spanish dollars, more. These next three most feared pirates were not your normal kind, because they were women. Not well known, they were highly violent and fought better than most men. Anne Bonny. A young Irish lass that travelled to the New World with her family at a young age, she eventually fell in love with a simple sailor named James Bonny. After a few years of marriage, She became very disappointed with her husband and his lack of will to provide a better life for them both. She fled and went to the Bahamas. She began seeking the company of men there, and she met a Jack Rackham, also known as Calico Jack, and he was already the captain of a pirate ship. She joined his crew while acting and dressing like a man. She drank and fought right along with them. There was also Ching Shi. Also known as Cheng Isao, Ching Shi is not only the most successful of all female pirates, she is also the most terrifying. She was able to gain equality to her husband, a pirate known as Cheng. Upon his death, she took over his entire operation. She ordained her adopted son, Chung Po Sai, second in command and the captain of her fleet, the largest of all other Chinese pirate fleets at that time. Captain Sao was a beautiful woman and she was also a former prostitute. She controlled over 1,500 ships and 80,000 fellow pirates. So, we find out that none of the real pirates' lives were anything like those we fell in love with on the big screen. The amount of death they caused was immeasurable, and little to no records of these deaths exist today. It is rather nice though, that Hollywood was able to take a few of these horrid characters, and make them human for us, for our entertainment. We all need to be thankful that we didn't live during that time period, and were forced to live in such fear all the time. The history of things, though not always a feel-good thought, is important,